Welcome, gentle listener, I am Baldermort, your faithful servant. Now Avalon Hill, creator of many, many fine board games, are crowdfunding something truly special. But also because, well, you know the rule, and I think that this is cool. Links to the crowdfunder are in the video description, as always. But let's find out the where, why, and what of it all. Enjoy. It has been too long. A classic returns, yet deeper and richer than ever before. Now, come, join me as we gain but a tiny taste of the lore and setting of Heroscape Age of Annihilation. We thought the wellsprings were a blessing. We thought they gifted us with the powers of God. Visions of the future, armies summoned from distant galaxies. We were wrong. The wellsprings bring our world nothing but pain, nothing but suffering and endless destruction. Driven to war to protect them from the clutches of Utgar and his minions, the Valkyries came together in a fleeting moment of hope. But my visions of the future drove me to despair. I gave up everything the wellspring provided. The strength, the armies, the visions, until I saw my own home reduced to ash. Until I heard the whispers and rumors of our Valkyrie and other wellsprings. Not knowing where those allegiances would fall drove me even further into madness. Driven by revenge, I can no longer sit idly by. If I do nothing, I will lose more than my home. I will lose everything. The world reduced to the memory of a flame. You can be a hero or a pacifist, but you cannot be both. Peace is but a dream in Valhalla, a dream I can no longer seek. I will carve my name into my enemies, and everyone will know who stands against them. My world no longer needs a scholar or a historian. It needs a hero. Undead creatures and horrors of war that would cause me to wake up screaming in the night. So realistic were these visions that I could not dismiss them as imaginative ramblings or fantasy. I instinctively knew I was seeing the inevitable future of Valhalla and its people. My people. But the first wellspring, years before, was a gift in those early days. I came upon it quiet and alone in a densely wooded copse near the tarn of Volsunga. I had heard the legends and studied the myths, hoping to be the one to find it. I needed to make a name for myself, to earn the respect of the good people of Valhalla. I'd been hiking for days, and as I neared the wellspring, overcome with fatigue and thirst, I stood back, hesitating to approach its basin. I was parched, but I cautiously inspected the crystal-clear water without touching it. Then, as if an unseen force had taken hold of me, I drank greedily. As soon as the water touched my lips, my nerves began to tingle. I felt an alien sensation deep in my being. Slowly, my wings started to grow until they were doubled in size. Soon, my physical strength had increased to a frightening level. My energy, vigor, and the clarity of my mind were now sharp and more powerful than ever before. The wellspring's magic had seeped into me. I continued to drink alone from the wellspring for days, while I recorded all of the remarkable changes to my mind and body that I was experiencing. Soon, however, the story of the discovery of the first wellspring and its supernatural powers became known, reverberating among the tribes of Valhalla as if it had been carried mysteriously on the wind. The archkiri of those tribes then quickly came together to discuss the threat the wellspring posed to a planet constantly ignited in war. But in those early days, I had no way of knowing that 6 other archkiri would find their own wellsprings, gain the same dangerous powers that had come to me, and use them for their personal gain. The archkiri decided that those who drank from the wellspring would no longer be known as Kiri, but as Valkyrie, an evolved subspecies. Jandar revealed himself first to his fellow archkiri leaders, cautioning those of the great power he had gained to defend his people. But it was Utgar who took the rest of the archkiri by surprise by issuing an ultimatum to his fellow leaders: unite under his banner or die. And in the end, many lost their lives rather than choose to align themselves with evil. As Utgar's conquest engulfed Valhalla, his slaughter of archkiri changed the course of life there forever. Minor feuds, territorial conflicts, and petty squabbles amongst the archkiri evaporated. Valhalla had never been a peaceful planet, but leaderless tribes now pledged their loyalties to the different Valkyrie, hoping for some vindication, or even just a say in their fate when everything settled. My fellow Valkyrie now discovered another of the Wellspring's mystical powers, their ability to summon warriors from strange places unknown. The only possible solution was to study this phenomenon. Each Valkyrie convened soldiers from different times and places in history, all most powerful combatants, and so the war evolved, replenishing armies from different worlds using the magic of the Wellsprings. As bleak and violent as life on Valhalla was, my vision of the future foretold something much worse. In addition to the grim, never-ending war I found myself in the middle of, there were also more wellsprings hidden around the planet. 15 wellsprings to be exact, each with a strange and magical artifact, and each tied to a different planet. Unable to deal with the burden and responsibility of this knowledge, I stopped drinking from my wellspring. I let the magic slowly drain away from me until the powers, the super strength of mind and body, the ability to see into the future, drifted away forever. The war continued without me. Utgar stomped across nearby nations with a massive army, laying waste to the land. Jandar met him on the battlefield. Soldiers died, but the Valkyrie remained, regrouped, and did it all over again. I am a Valkyrie, and now the time has come for me to honor that commitment, join my colleagues, and fight not only for the future of Valhalla, but for life itself. Now that I have regained my birthright, now that I have left the sidelines, I look, I search. Using my Valkyrie powers, I throw back the veil and begin to see. The forces involved, the legions and legends, I must defeat. For in this battle, none but the most wary will survive, and none but the most bold will thrive. Each will be mine own equal in power, and there can be no quarter. So I must know those who I will face. From across the lands they come. 5 are the main factions with which I must contend. Each a trial and test near impossible to match. Yet I must do this. I must face them all. Mystical weavers of the raw magical energies of life and death. The Dryan Life-born order has dwelt in the dark forests of planet Arboreus for countless ages, attuning their powers with the spirits of nature and the etheric beasts that also call these ancient and forbidden places of the wild home. Masters of the arcane, these spell-weaving magi learn to harness the very life force contained in the anima of living creatures, even using the fallen and deceased to increase the power of their spells, or calling upon the powers of the earthly elements to create destructive manifestations of raw carnage. Though few in number, the Dryan magi make up for this by enlisting the aid of the world's many creatures and beasts, bolstering the ranks of their armies with the unbridled fury of their animal kin, and unleashing the very definition of feral rage upon their enemies. They call themselves protectors of life, yet amongst them are so many dealers in death. Rakshot, desecrator of the dead. Marashet, mind whisperer. Helusia, siren of the wild. Titanic Xanithrax, the soul weaver. Drawn to Valhalla, unstoppable in its power. So many burning lights, so many dangers in dealing with them. The Dryan will not fall easily, nor swiftly. The Nemesis Warbrood. Evolving over countless millennia of almost constant military campaign and conquest on their home planet of Arboreus, the Nemesis Warbrood have perfected the arts of war within their draconian martial culture. Their insectoid appearance can be deceiving at first, leading many to believe them barbaric and crude, base things of rage and slaughter. In contrary to that belief, however, the Nemesis Warbrood possesses a highly advanced intelligence and fight with iron discipline to uphold and maintain their society against their enemies. Their hives are kept hidden from all outsiders, and it is believed those brood members encountered on Valhalla are comprised entirely of a sort of warrior caste. Leveraging their organically bioengineered weapons and abilities, Revner utilizes the Nemesis Warbrood's unique military tactics on the battlefield to great effect, feigning armies' compositions, using centralized neural network communications to execute complex maneuvers, and even spawning new reinforcements as the battle unfolds and tactics change to meet the moment. The Nemesis Warbrood, whose oath-bound shock troops will cover the lands, and, of course, Queen Maladrax the Conqueror, the harbinger of doom, with her festering honor guard, a canny warrior, a venomous enemy. She will strike like a scorpion if I give her but 1 inch, one opening, unleashing her brood of horrors on the land unfettered. Should I fall, should I fail. The Dusk Raider Syndicate. The mercenaries of the Syndicate call no Valkyrie their master, refusing to bend the knee to any of the warring factions on Valhalla. With motivations as varied as the composition of those species that call the Syndicate their own, the Dusk Raiders take to the battlefields of Valhalla for whichever side pays their high price for temporary loyalty. Often found in the shadows of the main advance, they fight for more than just the spoils, booty, or carnage, but because they enjoy the challenge of battle. The Dusk Raiders are led by a charismatic council of captains, who collectively function as the Syndicate's governing body in deciding the path of the Dusk Raiders, negotiate terms with the other factions on Valhalla, which contracts to honor, confirm new members into the group, etc., etc. With such a diverse mix of characters and specialities within their ranks, there is always a willing crew available for the required task at hand, coming into each battle hard and making their impact felt, fighting like madmen. The Dawn Raider Syndicate. Doran the Bulkhead Brawler, with his unquenchable chain axe, always leading from the front. Cornelius Breach, the derelict prince and his legendary butcher's cleaver. The knaves of the Silver Scimitar, brigands and scoundrels all, just as Revner always wanted. I must be as hard as rock and as sharp as a blade if I wish to defeat them all. The Ironclad Collective. For eons unknown on their planet of Noxtorma, the Ironclad have been waging war using the cold logic of their data cogitators and the hard steel of their inorganic weapon systems. The limitations and mortality of their organic species reforged and forgotten as countless generations focused on perfecting their methods of destruction. Every outcome on the battlefield is pre-calculated. Every possible strategy is processed before the first shots are fired. The Collective's military composition constantly adapts to battlefield conditions as they upgrade their cybernetics to counter new enemy tactics, sometimes even relinquishing individuality to upgrade themselves into combined monstrous war machines of searing intensity. Members of the Collective reflect their harsh philosophies of war in various death masks, creating metallic reflections of nightmares and generating a visual persona of fear and despair in the minds of their enemies. Every potential edge in combat is analyzed, even the psychological advantages gained through uncompromising terror tactics. The Ironclad Collective. Their Wraith Riders watch from the skies, ready to strike at a flash. Their inexhaustible legions crush all beneath their boot. But their master, the Lich Lord, right hand of their Valkyrie, he is the one to watch. His vile toxins infect his own men, enhance them, or slay them, but they annihilate his foes at the merest touch. The Clockwork Combine. Once a peace-loving and pacifistic society of farmers and artists from the planet Noxtorma, the various creatures of the Clockwork Combine have been forced to learn to make war on a previously unimaginable scale, or face their complete extinction at the hands of their enemies. In their desperation, and with an utter determination to survive annihilation, the Combine's artificers, engineers and scientists developed amazing technologies and fantastic flying machines of wonder to create havoc on the battlefields of their home planet and allow them the tactical flexibility to move their best troops to exactly the right place at the right moment. With the help of their advanced technology and limitless ingenuity, the Combine is now capable of lightning-quick redeployments, aggressive aerial insertions, and even equipment repairs in the heat of battle. I will not enjoy doing battle with these dreamers and shapers, whose minds and craft have been twisted to fouler ends. The elite glider strikers and their hero, Tuck Harrigan, or valiant Imperator Cain with his indulgence for cannon. Their Frostclaw paladins are a sight to see. I do not wish to bring them low, but I must. For Valhalla can only know the sweet caress of peace, when there are none left who will fight this accursed war. If only there were others who would fight these forces with me. If only there were more Valkyrie to save my world, my home, my Valhalla. Heroscape Age of Annihilation. Customize epic battlefields, draft your army, and join the greatest battle of all time. Heroscape Age of Annihilation. Become legendary.